Okay, I'll introduce Doug Tonne. Tonne, did I say it? Tony. He's going to talk to us in, startup, I'm sorry, in startup practices, and has done that for himself, so let him speak to you.
My name is Doug Tonne. I guess I started out kind of being self-employed in 2000, helped start a law firm and manage a law practice. We were a high-volume bankruptcy practice, so dealing with clients going through bankruptcy. Over the years, we've started several businesses, gotten invest in residential real estate, invest in commercial real estate a little bit, and started several other businesses kind of as of offshoots of the law firm that I helped start in 2000. A couple things that I've learned in being self-employed for, I guess, almost 18 years is, probably more than anything is get up off the couch. So, I know a couple people here have mentioned the people that you surround yourself with. The people that I'm in business with today were people that I went to college with. I went to Texas Tech University. And the people that I'm in business with today are people that I met in college and really kind of, I think Jessica was the first one to talk about surrounding yourself with smart people. I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I am smart enough to know that I do better when I'm surrounded by smart people and when I hire smart people. So the employees that I have, we've had up to 48 employees in my company. We do financial counseling, mostly for individuals going through bankruptcy. So they're people that are dealing with financial problems. So our job is to kind of help them figure out how they got there, what they can do to get out of it. We've had up to 48 employees. We have our business is open 24 hours a day because we service the entire United States and U.S. territories like Puerto Rico and Guam. And dealing with employees, I know a couple things have come up. Peter's question, a couple things about hiring. One of the big things that I'm looking for, and have done lots of hiring, is I'm looking for something that stands out about that person. Another common theme here with all of us seems to be, you'll learn what you need to learn on the job. So the most important thing for me is, does this person come across as genuine? If they seem like a liar in the interview, well, it's only going to get worse if I hire them. So to this young lady's question over here, that was asking about the ethics, if somebody was in an interview, that would be something that stood out to me if they said, I no longer work for this company because they asked me to do something that I wouldn't do. That person she probably just got a job with me. So, because that's something that would stand out. Most people are not going to say that. And I have actually hired somebody in virtually that same situation. So, but something to stand out. Sometimes that can be for hiring, that may just be, they may take the initiative to give us a phone call and ask, hey, I gave you a job application. I just wanted to see if you've had a chance to look at it. And my answer is probably, no, I haven't. But sure, if you want to come on by, I'll talk to you this afternoon. So just, they took that extra step because I may have, just like Jessica, I may have 40 applications on my desk for one job. And that person did something extra. So a lot of my experience has been in starting new companies. I mentioned the first thing is just getting up off the couch, setting goals. If you don't have any goals for yourself, whether it's for starting a business or otherwise, it's really difficult to get to that next step if you don't even know what that next step is. I personally use a list. I'm not an organized person by nature. I have an employee that helps with that. So she kind of keeps me organized. So thank goodness for Susan. But for me personally, I keep a list, and I kind of need that task list and those goals to, to kind of make sure that I'm moving towards something. I know business here, I was talking to some gentlemen over here, business is different here. There are some things that are the same no matter where you go. Businesses are going to really provide two things. They're going to fulfill something that people need or something that people want. If I have a choice, I go after something that people need. Economies go up and down. Again, doesn't matter where you live, economies are going to go up and down. But there are certain things that people always need if you can fill a need. And another thing is being unique. One of the things that, providing something different or providing something a specific group needs. What I do is provide financial counseling for individual consumers going through bankruptcy. So I don't know what type of similar system there is in Serbia. In America, people can file bankruptcy, which eliminates some or all of their debts. And so what I do is we are filling a very specific niche. I mean, it's very specific what we do. I was already in the bankruptcy world, so that was something that I was personally familiar with. But we run a business that's been up to $7.5 million a year company that we started. That's a business that most people wouldn't even know existed. So find out what you can do to be unique, to fill a need or a want. I was talking with these gentlemen during the break about one of my best friends is Korean, and he said one of the problems with business people in Korea is and this is his take on it, is that sometimes they're not very creative. They see that a family member's owned a donut store, so they will open one that looks exactly the same. And so I would say be creative. That's one of the things that we've done. I mean, we've started several businesses that really started because we saw a need coming. What I do right now was created because of bankruptcy law changes. We knew that was coming ahead of time. So we planned for that. We set goals for that. We knew we needed computer programming. We needed software built. We needed to get a call center to handle phone calls. We put all of those things in place ahead of time. Had we waited, other companies would have beat us, and so we've tried to do that with different things. I mean, so figuring out what you can do to what service is needed. I don't know what that is here. I mean, there are certain things. I mean, everybody wears clothes and everybody eats, and so there's some universal needs. But figuring out what are the needs in your community that you can fill. There's different challenges here than what we have in the United States, but we probably have some other challenges that you guys don't have here. So there's going to be challenges wherever you go. But those are the things that have really helped me. We have most of my employees have worked for me for more than 10 years. So part of surrounding yourself with good people is hiring. To answer young lady's question earlier about hiring based on the gut feeling, that's half of it, I would say, really. If somebody comes in, they may have, their job skills are, so-so, just not great. But, what are they going to bring? What can they do to help my company? So a lot of it is gut feeling. But a lot of it is those extra things that I mentioned. Did that person call? I've had people that have just stopped by. I've had a person come in for a job interview with their mother. Okay, that person didn't get hired. So We've had people that have come in for job interviews. We do phone interviews as well. Had people that interviewed well over the phone. Well, this person sounds pretty good, and when they show up and their hair looks like they just woke up and they're in some wrinkled jeans. Okay, that person may be a good employee, but we're probably not going to give them the chance. So, presenting yourself well is important. All of those. Anything else? Any questions for starting a business or?
I have a question.
Okay.
So if I like to open a business here in Serbia to cancel people who go through bankruptcy,
Okay.
my first question is how would I will charge them?
How would you?
How I will charge them? How they will pay for my services?
Okay. Well, I guess people going through bankruptcy are having certain financial problems, but it doesn't mean that they have no money. So, what we charge, my business is a volume business. So people are paying $50 or less. Either the individual or their attorney is paying it. So we don't just have, we actually, we deal with hundreds of clients a day. So it's lots of them, but yeah. Well, I think your question was if they're going bankrupt, how could they pay us? But it's a small amount of money, so.
I'm asking mostly like a principle because here, when we think how to start a business, we always think about obstacles.
Right.
And you need to think about possible obstacles in future.
Right.
So generally my question was more like how to think if you have these kind of questions. I like to start business, but what if?
Right. Well, I think a little bit of that goes back to the planning, the planning, the goals, the task list for yourself. Whatever that hurdle may be, you need to know what those hurdles are, and you need to think about it. And one of the things that, which is almost similar to what we're doing here today. I mean, one of the most helpful things for me is having those discussions with other people that can help. I'm in a business group where we have, CEO, like president level people of different companies. We have 9 people in a room that meet for 4 hours once a month and, go through. So if I've got an issue in my business, I can talk through it with them. So having other people, I mean, it matters who you surround yourself with. I mean, I had friends from college that were, that you would think of more. These are like, people that, they're spending all of their time drinking or just not really probably going anywhere. I chose to surround myself with people that had bigger ambitions. So being around those people, and a lot of it is just, I mean, our business was originally, the law firm was started in 2000, from 3 guys sitting in a room, discussing, hey, we should do this. And we had all kinds of obstacles. We had 3 people that were trying to start a business. None of us came from family money. We didn't have money. We had a ton of obstacles. We had no money. We've never done this before. We've never been self-employed. I mean, we were literally like kids right out of college, all 3 of us. So I had a year's worth of work experience in a completely different field when I got out of college. So, the hardest step I found in starting a business, and it still is after doing several, is actually starting it. It's a tough to get past the we're thinking about it to actually doing it. I heard something one time that that when you guys have probably all thought of an invention in your head. You've thought, well, wouldn't it be great if they had something that did whatever, heard somebody talking about this one time, and they were saying that when you have that thought about that business idea, you know, there's dozens of other people around the world that are having that exact same thought. But the difference is the person that says, hey, there's a, you know, I can make a better water bottle, or I can make a more comfortable chair, or, I mean, you know, even if it's something that already exists, I mean, that's how people start money. I mean, that's how people start business. Do you guys have Crocs, the shoes here? Is that a, you have, okay, so you guys know what Crocs are. So the guy that owns Crocs, that was started, you know, the shoes have been around forever, right? He's been very, very successful with Crocs because he did a couple things. One, he got up off the couch, right? So that was first thing. But he was boat captain. So he was filling in what he felt like was a need. I might have argued that I don't think this is really a need, but he was a boat captain, he was a boat guy, and he decided that, you know, the boat shoes that you could buy at the store were leather, and you're on a boat, you get them wet, and then they smell, they stink. So he was unhappy with his choices for boat shoes, so they decided to make a better shoe. Nothing really totally unique. There's plenty of shoes out there. So they went into business. They made Crocs as a boat shoe, as a boat shoe. Say that 10 times. And they sold Crocs at boat shows. So the first show they did, they had a pretty long line. They were super impressed. You know, these are guys that were smart. They made the very toughest step, which was, okay, we've talked about this idea, but we're actually going to do it. We're going to start it. They did it. The second boat show, they had a line out the door. You know, their projection for Crocs for year two or for their first year was to sell $25,000 worth of shoes at boat shows. You know, when I heard this person speak, he didn't disclose how much money they made, but I know at one point they were spending over $1 million in legal fees per month fighting people trying to copy their shoe. So he's done extremely well. So the guy that used to captain, well, I guess he wasn't. He was a boat guy, but I think the person that was his boat captain, part of his story was that person is a multimillionaire many times over, and this was a guy that was driving a boat. So that was an opportunity. You know, you really never know. I mean, one of the things that I've got teenage kids. Got, you know, a son that's a senior in high school. My daughter's a sophomore in high school. And one of the things that I tell them, and I really want them to get, is you can almost be successful wherever you go if you can set yourself apart. My very first job was at McDonald's. I know they have those here. I worked at McDonald's for 3 months, and they were ready to make me a shift manager. I mean, I'm a kid, you know. I mean, really a child. But you know, what I figured out was that I worked harder. I worked faster. You know, so it wasn't, you know, I mean, I didn't go into McDonald's with any skills that anybody else didn't have. I just worked harder, you know, and made an impression on them. You know, during part of that time is I was working the grill. I'm flipping hamburgers, and they were able to go from, you know, one of the shifts that I worked, they were able to go from 2 people in the grill to 1 because I was fast and it was good. So that's why at 3 months, they're talking to me about, you know, do you want to be a shift manager? No, I'm tired of it. You know, I left. I did something else. But you know, the point of that is even if I had stayed at McDonald's, I don't have any doubt in my mind that I wouldn't still be working in the kitchen. You know, I would be working my way up. And there are plenty of people, like James was talking about earlier, there are plenty of people that are just there to get a paycheck. And do as little as they can. Don't be that person. Yeah, I know when we started the law firm in 2000, we did not have all the answers. You know, I mean, there was a few times where paychecks were deposited back in our bank so we could pay our employees. You know, or we've got somebody going back to the office supply store and returning staples and paper clips and stuff because, you know, we don't have the money for all these office supplies. So it's very hard starting a business, which frankly is why most people don't do it. It is hard, it is risky, but, you know, there's probably stories here similar, I don't know, but I mean, you know, is Dell Computers, I don't know if that's a computer that you know of from here. In America, Dell Computers is a big computer manufacturer. You know, Dell was started by a guy in his garage. You know, he put money on his credit cards to, you know, he had this dream, had this passion, and he started it.